Hi friends! This is DaintyTank. I brought a friend. Welcome the Cheshire Cat. I do have him actually in the background all the time. Always. Right beneath Totoro, which is where the DaintyTank tank is sitting right now. That's a little hole that the Cheshire Cat always chills out in. I love the Cheshire Cat. And so I was like, oh, why haven't I actually brought the Cheshire Cat along on the Who is the Red Queen adventure? So now we are. And they're gonna hang out. No regrets. This is what I'm doing. I'm committing to it, and I am fine with that. So welcome back. This is part 4 in the series on Who is the Red Queen. Last we heard, we had the startling revelation. Use that in daily work, daily life. Today is Revolution Day. Anyways, I say that, and now I'm sitting here like I am getting hot with this. Oh, friend. So much tail. So much tail. So I will put the Cheshire Cat to the side. But I wanted to say hi with the Cheshire Cat. So we assembled all of the 4 pieces, and then we got our unbirthday present of the Red Queen's head, which the Red Queen's head looks very similar and is identical because it is Alice's head. So the Hatter smashed us in with a hammer. Literally. So off we go. Back to it. She worked on paperwork after court. Between snacks, she conversed with ministers, who sweat nervously each time she met their beady eyes. Finishing up her important documents, she proceeded to go for a brisk walk and practice swinging a sword here and there. Bringing the Red Queen a towel and water, the rabbit asked if she wanted to visit the White Queen today, which the Red Queen decided against. Dinner time arrived soon enough. She sat in a large dining room, at the head of the long table all alone. A sumptuous meal was served with red wine before her, but she had no one to share it with. The food tasted alright. More importantly, it had been poisoned. The chef used just a little too much so that the meat began to lose its charm and turned to mediocrity. The Red Queen called the chef over. His eyes darted around the room wildly, knowing that he had nowhere to escape. His legs shook, and he fell to his knees, beginning to beg. The Red Queen took the sword from a decorative suit of armor in the room. Off with his head for daring to poison the queen. Watching as the servants cleared away the chef's remains, she returned to her meal, which had been quickly replaced. She drank a sip of wine. Poisoned wine. Red Queen. Ugh. The next day, she returned to the courtroom. One by one, the numbers diminished. Even those in the jury were not spared if they made the slightest slight. Why is there even a jury? And oh my god, the white rabbit is insane. Oh god, speaking of the rabbit smiled with glee, writing down the names of criminals who had to be executed. Not a few times she took a job herself, an axe in hand and boots squelched in blood. The Red Queen enjoyed her judgment court. Wonderland was her domain, and its people her pieces. If they became disobedient, then she would never let them throw her possessions into disarray. Some days she didn't go, working on governance. Other days she did, working on her world's peace. These times continued until one day the Red Queen fell asleep, when I was still awake. Curling my fingers, I discovered I was in control. I walked over the balcony, seeing the ground terribly far away. I lifted myself over the balustrade and threw myself off. Air rushed past my face. Splat. Falling. I was falling again. Back through time, the interstice between the different times and different worlds was still incomprehensible as before. My body knitted together from its mingled form, and I returned to Wonderland. Falling, I fell straight onto a table. BAM! Hi! I had returned to an iteration of the Hatter's place. Sprawled out on the table, I glanced upward and saw that familiar pair of mismatched eyes. Unfamiliar. Do I know you? No, not quite. Could you get off the table? I do need to put down tea and snacks at some point, if you understand. The Hatter seemed different, as if a heavy weight had yet to settle on her shoulders. Yes? I got off the table and stood awkwardly around the unfamiliar place. The Hatter set down her teapot. She was preparing a tea party of sorts, causing me to realize that I had never seen her do setup as things were always already on the table. What's your name? Alice. I'm Alice. You should be Hatter. Mm-hmm. Is there somewhere you need to go so badly that you nearly broke my table? No, I've nowhere. Well, why don't you take a seat? No one uses the armchair over there. Much too armchair, they said. They know how armchairs are, right? They're armchairs. I hesitantly approached my chair. The chair looked newer than my before. When I sat on it, I sank into the soft cushions. Even though it reminded me of a hammer through my skull, the chair did nothing wrong. I clutched my chest. You weren't having tea? What time is it? This person hated me. Perhaps she did not hate me yet, in the moment that we were meeting now, but she hated me all the same in the future, in my present. I shouldn't have cared, but my heart hurt. The clock says 15 minutes before 4. It's almost tea time. Maybe it already is? I'm waiting for March and Dormouse. So it's surely not yet tea time. Tea time, after all, is just a state of mind. I see. You look sad, Alice. Do I? I raised my hand to my face, touching my cheek. I certainly was not smiling. What's your favorite tea? She retrieved a tea set to place on the table, bringing not 3 cups but 4. 1 cup and saucer was put before me. I enjoy black tea. Recently I've grown fond of Earl Grey. What about you, Hatter? I like any tea, but I also rather like Earl Grey. I'm not sure why it's an Earl rather than a Count or a Duke, but I'm sure the tea tastes best an Earl. I've heard that it's named after a minister. Or perhaps that minister was named after a tea. Fancy that. Your name is Grey, so Her Majesty Earl names you, tells you to become Earl Grey. The Hatter looked happier. A film of water built up over my vision, turning it blurry. I must have gotten something in my eyes. A hiccup bubbled in my throat. The water wouldn't stop. Why are you crying? Tears rolled down my cheeks, and I hurriedly tried to wipe them away with my hands. I really can't explain. This is so odd. Eat cake. Do you like cake? Would you rather a sandwich or maybe something salty? If you're lacking in salt and sugar, you'll go a little crazy like that. She poured me a cup of tea and passed me some cake with a set of utensils she was just getting out. It tastes good. Hick. Drinking the tea and eating the cake, I noticed a much more amateurish flavor than my Hatter, the future Hatter, would make. However, it tasted good. Maybe it tasted happier? My shoulders shook up and down for a while. I cried for the longest time I had cried since I was a toddler, rubbing my eyes pink. Once my tears stopped, I cleared my throat and averted my eyes from the Hatter. Compliments to you, Hatter. Why, thank you. We sat together in that peaceful silence for a while afterward, before she turned her head and exclaimed, "There they are!" Oh my god, okay. I was sitting there like, I'm not talking because I'm hopeful. I am hopeful that by Alice gaining control and ending the queen, that there was a timeline that was created in which the Dormouse and the March Hare were actually still alive. and it looks like it. I'm so excited to get to meet them. A sleepy little mouse and a hare with a straw hat approached from the forest path. They look just like the little puppets my hatter wore often on her hands. Looking at me in curiosity, they took their seats at the table. A guest? Looks like a past. Don't be rude, Marge. Three's a crowd. No room, no room. Three's a crowd, but four's a party. If we could get 5 then, well, we can think about it that later. Don't make a girl cry, Marge. This is Alice. This is Marge Hare. This is Dormouse. Hatter poured some tea for both of them, and they began to chat, glancing toward me, tugging me into the conversation, even as their ramblings evolved into nonsense. Halfway through each topic, the Dormouse seemed to snooze off and dip her little nose into her tea by accident. That's absolutely precious. Oh. Did Hatter make you cry, Alice? She's a lady killer, she is. I've always known it. See? Dormouse, Dormouse, wake up for the gossip. I'm right here, Marge. She looks like butter. It's yellow hair. Butter. She looks like a little silly, like her brain's been all churned up, but she looks like good butter. Can't help but crack a slight smile at their antics. More sunny than buttery. Do you want butter, Alice? No, thank you. I'm quite alright. That aside, psst, Alice, Alice! The March Hare and the Dormouse pulled me to the side for a private conversation. Hatter seems to fancy you. Not so directly. Don't raise your voice. Dormouse, Dormouse, shh. That's usually my line, Marge. You can't own lines, now can you? Marge is right, the Hatter looks fondly upon you. You do seem nice. Kind of dumb. She seems nice. I still approve. I am just saying, alright? Be kind to Hatter. Be good to our Hatter. We can't be around her forever, so, you know, you have to promise this, Alice. I have a feeling that this is very important. Swear it on a stick of holy butter. I won't be here for very long, but no, I'll promise it. I swear on everything that I could ever be precious to me, that I'll treat her well if we meet again. See? And she's back to bed. Dormouse! Dormouse! Who returned to the Hatter? The 4 of us continued chatting over tea. I enjoyed tea time today. I really did. Yeah, I didn't belong here. And I didn't deserve here either. I mean, I knew that my presence would just throw everything into disarray. Finishing my tea, I stopped the Hatter from refilling my cup. I had a lovely time today. I have to leave. This place isn't mine. But thank you for the tea again, Hatter. And you too, Marge, Dormouse. It was nice meeting you, Alice. I already knew from the future, but I was also happy to see you, Hatter. Hatter, it was a shame that my Hatter didn't feel the same way. Alice, what did you feel for the Hatter? Something precious? See you later. Oh, that wink. I wanted her to be happy. Auf Wiedersehen. Giving her a weak wave, I left the happier Hatter. I didn't particularly have a place to go. Home? That was no longer my goal. Walking away, I wiped away the tears that welled up again. Eventually, I was falling. Again. I died. That much I understood. However, I seemed to have forgotten how I died this time. In a way, I knew that I couldn't keep doing this. Alice, this is your last iteration. The power letting you keep falling had already run out. The next time, you wouldn't come back to Wonderland in any time. As my body pierced itself back into place, I waited for myself to stop falling. I burst back into my relative present and hit the ground softly. Lying back flat on the ground, I grasped at the grass below me and cut my fingers on their blades. Above me, the sky was terribly blue. No matter who I was, the world would move on without me. However, people could not just simply move on. Be it a matter of hate, or a matter of love, or just a matter of apathy, the connections people had were difficult to sever. Before I realized it, a certain person had settled into my heart. I want to see Hatter. My Hatter. Alice, you really are no good. No, it's better to say that I really am no good. I had already fallen for that mad Hatter. She wormed her way into my heart, unintentionally, as she threw me on a wild duck chase for the Red Queen's dismembered parts in her revenge. I wondered how she felt now that she had her goal fulfilled. The final look on her face that I saw before I died was painful. It was painful not because of the crushing of my skull, but because of the constriction of my heart as I looked at her. A strange girl, a lonely girl. Ultimately a terribly kind girl who was stumbling along a bloody path. That was who the Hatter was. I'm sorry. I pushed myself up. Unless useless Alice... You're not useless. Useless Alice had a want. Not one of obligation, not one of what should be, because really, had I really wanted to go home, not one that tutors or anyone forced upon her, I went to find the Hatter. I started walking. I started running. There she was, all by her lonesome. The bags under her eyes had not yet lightened up at all. She listlessly played with the rim of her teacup till she suddenly saw me. Why? She harshly stood up. Why did you come back? Why can't you just disappear? Grabbing a plate off the table, ignoring the pastry atop it, she chucked it at me. Smash. The plate brushed me and shattered on the ground, leaving a mangled lump of sweets and porcelain. Alice. Alice! She slammed the table, originally forcing her hands down with great momentum before suddenly slowing down as she smacked it. Wincing, the Hatter let out a pained, guttural noise. Why are you like this? I hate you, Alice. You... Grr! She clutched her chest and glared at me with murky, watery eyes. Why are you like this? I had no answer. You're contradictorily cruel and kind. You're messed up, Alice. Just choose one thing to be, you heartless woman. I like you, but I also hate you. I also liked her. I loved her. Oh, you're a useless freeloader who just comes to bother me. A waste of space. You're Alice, who's always accompanies me and extends a hand to me. You're the Red Queen. Monster killer. I hate you. Why couldn't you have properly just died? I killed you. You're the same thing as the Red Queen. You shouldn't have come back. You... She picked up a teacup and threw it at me, smashing me right in the forehead. I stumbled back. Hot tea spilled down me, mixing with the blood that came from the simple flesh wound. The cup itself shattered into tiny pieces on the ground. Go away! She grabbed the bloody hammer off the table and flung it, missing me by a far margin. It whooshed through the air, spinning, and lodged itself deeply into a tree behind me. My blood was still on the metal surface. Tell me who you're supposed to be. I am Alice. I am Alice. The Red Queen and I are one and the same. But I am Alice. Her essence is intertwined with mine, but I am me and me alone. I'm scared of the idea that we could become the same. I never want to become someone like her, an empty heart, an empty life. Even as she lashes out to the rest of the world, she's still empty. Admittedly, I'm also no good. I'm a heartless person who hurts others as well. But I hold just two certainties. I am Alice, and Alice is me. And for the I who am Alice, you are the person who took my heart. Is it okay to say I'm Alice? I nervously fiddled with my fingers behind my back, looking at the Hatter as my heart raced. I couldn't read her expression behind those mismatched eyes. And the tears... She wiped her eyes with her sleeves, opening her mouth time and time again. She seemed to have trouble finding her words. I like the Alice. Who is Alice? The Red Queen scares me, but if you would let me believe it, I want to believe that you are Alice. Ever since March and Dormouse left, time has stopped at tea time like a curse. I'm tired of tea. Is my life just for revenge on the Red Queen? She looked up at the sky as if lost. The Red Queen is dead. Deliberately mouthing the words, slowly again, she seemed to convince herself of that reality. Then she looked back toward me. Alice. You are Alice. Her voice grew small as she gazed downward to her feet. I hurt you. Oh, I know. I extended a hand toward her. She who was all alone. She who stood so close yet so far away. I wanted for her to take my hand. We were both problem children. Perhaps I was a little mad. She slowly walked before me, looking at my hand as if seeing something foreign. Lifting her arm up, she reached out her hand shakily. Her fingers trembled and hovered over my hands. For a moment, she retracted her hand. Then she placed her hand in mine. I love you, Hatter. Alice. She stared at me, trying to ascertain the truth of my words. With a deep, shaky breath, she gave me her response. I love you too. Oh, would you accompany me for a dance? Give me a kiss and make me happy? She asked me just 3 things. I can't make you happy. I wish that I could fulfill all 3 of her requests, a physical item or a physical deed. Those I could easily accomplish, but one of heart, I knew not if I could. I don't know if we can make each other happy, but I placed a kiss upon her lips. Aww. That's fine. Even if I have no ability to promise such things, I want to let you be happy. You are my dearest, precious person. I want you to be happy, Alice. That makes me happy. Aww. Not just like this. More so. Aww. And I took her hand and we danced upon the table. Spinning about, our feet tangled with the tablecloth and tea strewn about. Hatter, if the world were to end tomorrow, what would you do? I have nothing left here for me, Alice, so I suppose I would do nothing. You're still right here with me, aren't you? She was so light. I wish I could show you my world. It's not a particularly spectacular world. Rather, it's an utterly unfantastical world. Yet, there were things that I liked. Maybe my siblings are better, the 2 cats, if you care for cats at all. I would have liked that. I pulled her along, leading the mad dance. With no music, we moved to the erratic tempo of our hearts together. Alice. Why did you fall in love with me? Your eyes. Maybe it was just fate. Maybe it was just luck. Meeting you time and time again here, I grew fonder and fonder of you. At first, I simply thought you were lonely, but eventually I fell in love with your heart. Love. I've never known about love before. I'm not sure if I can truly explain why my heart beats as it does for you, Hatter. Even that aside, you're cute. You can cook and sew and brew good tea. You're warm. You're actually rather kind. What about you to me? I should ask that to you instead. Happiness, perhaps. Happiness. Probably we had no such fate, but we wished for it. Oh? Finally, we fell. Falling, falling, falling. We were falling down this rabbit hole with no start nor end. We were falling together. I knew not where we would fall, for there was no more wonderlands for us to fall into. That world we just fell from had been the very last iteration. I embraced the Hatter and closed my eyes. How warm she was, the person who I treasured. I only asked for a world where we could be happy together. Surely, we would meet again in a land much more wonderful than this. Somewhere, sometime, surely. Oh, that was good. That was so good. Okay. I had a blast playing this. I had an absolute blast playing this game. So good. The music was on point, and the visuals were stunning. I love the CGs, but like even just the design and the storytelling were fun. This was underlining a thing here, fun. This was fun. It was dark, it was gruesome, it was awesome. And I just appreciate it. Great job, team. Absolutely great job. Alice ending. There's multiple endings. Let me know if you want me to play other endings. I'm really excited. I would be up for more. There was quite a few things you could pick. Script scene 60%? Hold your butts. Let me know who I should follow next time. Should I follow Cheshire Cat? Should I follow the White Queen? Show me more. Tell me more. Tell me your preferences. I'm excited for it. And with that, I love you all. And I'll see you next time. Bye!